the journey of life. So during life development, meiosis, please, you should all unmute yourself. Meiosis,
All right, sir.
meiosis is when you have the sperm cell and the egg cell join themselves to produce what you call a zygote. So meiosis is usually taking place during fertilization when you have egg cell and the sperm cell. Remember that the smallest cells that is found in a human being is a sperm cell, while the biggest cells that are found in human is the egg cell. So this sperm cell and the egg cell join themselves to produce what you call a zygote through the process called fertilization. So now, this fertilization is contained what you call a DNA. A zygote itself, remember, egg is a cell, sperm is a cell. We have two types of cell in human. We have sex cell, or we call them germinal cell, and somatic cell. Sex cells, which is egg and the sperm cell, are called reproductive cell. So the egg cell and the sperm cell joined themselves through a process called fertilization to produce what you call zygote. And this zygote itself is a cell on its own. It is also a cell on its own. It is also a cell on its own. Therefore, remember, in each and every cell, we have a chromosome. And in that chromosome, we have what you call DNA. And this DNA is found in a chromosome. So during fertilization, 23 chromosomes are coming from the egg and 23 chromosomes are coming from the sperm. That is why if you have a baby, you will see that the baby they usually inherit some of the character from the mother and some characters from the father. This is due to the recombination of this genetic material, which are the chromosome. So 23 from egg, 23 from sperm, making a total of 46 chromosomes. That is 23 pairs of chromosome. And ladies and gentlemen, each and every living organisms, they have their own number of chromosomes. And sometimes the more closely the number of chromosomes are between species of a living organisms, the more they look alike. So human being and chimpanzees, they look alike because in terms of the number of chromosomes, human being have 46 chromosomes while the chimpanzee have 48 chromosomes. So it's just the differences of two chromosomes. That is what make us different from them. And then remember, as I said, we have what you call a zygote cell, and in this zygote cell there is a chromosome, and in these chromosomes there is a DNA. The DNA is a language of life. You are the way you are because of your own DNA, and you are different from another human being because of also your DNA. So DNA is a language of life. If you are beautiful, it's because of your DNA. If you are intelligent, it's because of your DNA. If you are smart, it's because of your DNA. If you are short, it's because of your DNA. And if you are tall, it's also because of your DNA. So the DNA is like the language of life. It's what translates to produce you and I. So in this DNA, as I said, we have DNA. So we have a process called central dogma of molecular biology. And remember, I told you in this course, we are going to look at the macromolecules. So now we want to see how this DNA, RNA, and protein are related to the journey of human life. Remember, a zygote cell is an undifferentiated cell. It's an undifferentiated cell. When we say undifferentiated cell, it means that it's a cell where it do not fully differentiate itself. So when you have a zygote cell, this zygote cell divides itself to produce what you call blastula, and then this blastula produce what you call morula, and in this morula, it's just the same zygote cell that divide themselves into 16 cells, and these cells will further divide themselves into more cells. And after that, then the next thing is differentiation. How the cell differentiate themselves into eye cells, kidney cell, liver cell, and other types of cell. So morula is a state where you have an undifferentiated cell, and those kinds of cells, we call them stem cells. So when you have a cells in you that do not differentiate into a specific types of cell, we call them stem cells. And they are the next types of cell or set of cells that produce from the zygote cells. We call them stem cells. So now, how these cells differentiate themselves? The cells differentiate themselves when a DNA is converted into RNA, and then the RNA produce a protein. So we have two types of protein. Here is a mistake. Proteins are classified on different bases. We have functional protein. Here is a mistake. It's supposed to be functional protein. It's supposed to be functional protein. So it's functional. So some proteins that are produced from this DNA have their specific function. Like for example, in this DNA, we have a gene that will produce RNA, and that RNA will produce a protein like hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein that found in a red blood cell, and is the protein that make red blood cell different from the enterocyte, that is the intestinal cells. So these hemoglobin are produced from the DNA through the central dogma of molecular biology. And the DNA, from that DNA we produce protein, and it's that proteins that make one cell have different function from another. And we have a structural proteins. Some proteins are responsible for the production of how the shape and the structure of a particular cell will look like. For example, now look at this. We have fat cells. That is the adipocyte, the cells that are found in breast cells. We have neurocytes, that is the cells that are found in neurons. We have chondrocytes, the cells that are found in bones. We have cardiac cells. So if you look at their structure, they are different. Why are they different? Is because you have a specific proteins that are meant to specialize those kinds of cells with that specific structure. Then we have red blood cell. Why we have this red blood cell is because of the hemoglobin. So it's the hemoglobin that make red blood cell to be red and also have biconcave shape. So therefore, in this point, you will be able, or you will understand that the life is started from the DNA. So a zygote cell is undifferentiated cells, and it's after when these cells are differentiated that they will produce embryo. Because as I said, at the stage of zygote, you will have you have 100 of zygote cells that are not differentiated. But some cells will be classified and directed to produce some proteins that make them to be specialized into like blastocysts. Also at the same time, so some zygote cell will also be classified and they will be instructed, they will be directed that they should specialize and differentiate themselves into epithelial cells. Some also other cells will be classified, grouped, and then they will be instructed and asked to produce a protein that make them to specialize into neuron cells. So this is how life is. So we started from DNA. So in a DNA, we have a genes that will specify or that will now specialize a particular cell into a specific types of cell. So this is the importance of these slides, and that is what I want to address. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question here, you can ask before we move to the next slide.